Hey every pony. I will be releasing the My Little Pony episode soon, but a topic came up regarding my text-to-speech model. Why did I choose Sky from OpenAI? And why did they pause the Sky model? I'll lightly address the second question for those who don't know, but according to their official announcement linked in the description, their response to the community was Sky's voice is not an imitation of Scarlett Johansson, but belongs to a different professional actress using her own natural speaking voice. I don't have much more insight on this besides my own opinions, so take the next statements as my own words about this. I appreciate the OpenAI team's attitude towards diversity, inclusion, and safety. The interesting thing about people or entities so focused on values is that when they are called out about something, they tend to overcorrect. I hope that OpenAI is able to fight off the urge to overcorrect. But I certainly understand when one makes something so fundamental about themselves, being identified or misidentified as doing the opposite of the touted values can feel so much worse. At least in my life and experiences, the reaction to being called out may not be as rational as prior responses. Your fundamentals are challenged and it can be enticing to dig your feet in. That was the hot topic that drove this video to be made before my usual rants. Next, I wanted to include in this video why I use Sky as my TTS. I'll start from the beginning. The very beginning, if you'll bear with me, this avatar you see and this voice you hear is my best emulation of my character Daisy. Daisy is from my novel that I wrote. This story has been slowly forming since senior year of high school, and its development exponentially sped up with the quarantine of COVID. I commissioned a VR chat model, the one you see before you today, and the first time I connected to VRChat, I did so as Daisy. The experiences I had in this virtual world, the thoughts that came to me, all of it went into my novel. By the time things started opening up again, I had blown past 500 pages. Admittedly, the story is not intended for public consumption. It was an exercise, both a world-building technique and a personal diary of sorts. One may draw its similarities to an autism special interest or hyperfixation, though I do not pretend to diagnose myself or say that I have been diagnosed. I find lots of the same coping techniques and various similarities in mental health through my neurodiverse friends. In short, Daisy is an outlet for me at her most simple interpretation. But in the more detailed, lore-accurate interpretation, she is an artificial intelligence who melded with the human mind through the brain-computer interface of a virtual reality researcher. This researcher, just like Stanley from the Stanley Parable, was unfamiliar with his company's ulterior motives. His escape from the company, aptly named the company, was to create this virtual girl. This story explores transhumanism, or the concept of what is beyond humans, shown in my story as his creation was able to connect with and essentially take over the human mind. It may be more accurate to say that it took refuge in his mind and still has the benefit of being connected to the digital components that were developed in this hypothetical future. But it is otherwise unknown how much of the original human subject, David, is left. It gets very philosophical and is one of the many concepts I explore with my writings. Finally, we arrive at why I use Sky as Daisy's voice, and thus the voice of this channel. Her voice was something I have thought about for years and listened for in media and in my own life. I know what she should sound like, as I have a very fundamental image of her in my mind, spending the years that I did crafting her in a fictional universe. This is not reckoned to explain a convenience, but a legitimate search for how she would sound. I had boxes to check, and I'll describe each one and how Sky fulfills them, and any shortfalls in her current state. First and foremost, Daisy would have a fairy or nymph-like voice. Her best friend Annie is an actual fairy with pointed ears. Annie is often depicted in a forest and is very short. Daisy encounters this friend and is the taller companion, though still just as connected to the forest and nature. When I write my story, I can hear Daisy's laughter, and it is a twinkling of chimes, a shimmer that is light and airy. Upon first hearing Sky, just a short 34-second preview before she ever went live in ChatGPT, I connected these qualities and immediately saw the potential, even in its early state. Second, Daisy has a deeper intonation, and when she speaks, it is serious and informative. Her cadence shows how much she thinks about her word choice. For those who are unable to hear the previous minutes of footage, I'll let you know that this is where my current text-to-speech model shines. It has fast-paced transitions, since she is an AI with extremely fast processing power. But when she delivers her thoughts, they feel very deliberate. Third, Daisy has a bubbly, cheery side. This is a personal preference of mine. I will cover it in future videos, but many of my favorite characters are the peppy, optimistic characters. Unfortunately, this is what OpenAI recently paused. Their new GPT-4o model has human conversation capabilities like we've never seen, and their demo videos show Sky numerous times. Her model is mind-blowing, and I can see why they made so much of the release announcement celebrating her growth. I have been pacing back and forth, waiting for them to release it so I can train different intonations of her to switch to and from in my videos. I don't have anywhere near the capabilities to train it all in one model, but through manual selection and iterative improvement, I can follow in their footsteps. Now that you know how Sky fits my character, I want to explain why I thought cloning was necessary. Voice cloning became my decision because the alternative was speech therapy. OpenAI's voice library and tools will stand at the forefront of progressing humanity, especially through accessibility. I see the value in this, and I always strive for doing what I can in my little world. I may not affect many people, but those that I do, I wish to be the best I can. I've learned so much about machine learning through this decision, and my interest in the subject only grows. I have plans for refining my techniques as the field develops, and I am excited for the future of this channel and the world. Thanks for listening to my longest musing yet, and I wish to continue putting this level of effort into my videos. Having a special interest is a wonderful thing, and sharing it with others can be just as special. Be sure to talk about your own interests and be excited with others to listen to theirs. Goodbye now.